All right. Thanks for coming.
Here we are once again. We always forget to say subscribe, and on every platform, we're everywhere. So just do that. Moving on.
Moving on. Pop it in.
We're back.
You're back.
This is what happens.
Dad never left.
This is what happens when you have bad influences in your life.
I'm not the one that bought that.
Hey, don't say that.
Go back in again. Don't say
Don't
that.
say that.
What would you do if you're like, I'm quitting, I'm not going to do any of it anymore, and then at the craziest chance there's this off-brand new nicotine that's coming out, they're like, you know what, we'll put you on the podcast, we'll give you a couple tins to try, or 700
For how much?
$700 700 cans.
Well, Tucker Carlson has a new one. Kind of just want to try that.
Why though? What makes it so different?
Probably nothing.
Just that they don't do woke advertising.
There you go. Cool name. It's called Alp. See, I'm
Alp?
even promoting him for it right now.
Like Alp, like the mountain Alps.
Yep.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well,
is it better, like, do you know if it's better quality than the other ones? It's just
probably
the
not.
marketing.
Yeah, it's just the marketing, and I haven't looked into it at all. I just saw that he was doing a new one.
I want to try some that's coffee flavored.
Does the Rogue have that?
No.
Which ones do you know?
I think Zen has espresso.
Ugh. Don't do Zyn.
I've never tried Zen, but
These are way better.
really,
Yeah, like this, they don't have as harsh of the like chemically nicotine-y kind of thing.
I
Like
really
they're-
want you to try regular chew then.
No.
the
Zyn does and Lucy does for the coffee flavor, the espresso.
Lucy, that's the other one I've heard of.
yeah, and these are 6 milligram too. Like the Zins that I had were 3, and
I think they make 6 though.
They do, but the ones I had were 3, and they were way worse than these. Like they were
Oh.
more chemically and weird. These are like way smoother. There's like a smooth whiskey versus like a not so great one that hits
That
you for
alcohol we had New Year's Eve.
yes, oh my god. We're talking about
Anti
good
shout out.
brands, bad brands. Just don't even do an organic alcohol. It's terrible.
Yeah, 'cause it was
Especially when the
made with,
flavors are
like,
cool.
What was it? Organic alcohol?
Yeah, organic brewed alcohol.
Yeah, brewed alcohol. That's what it was.
It was bad. It's terrible. We all were sick.
What was it?
Crooks.
They're crooks.
Yeah, they are crooks. Yeah. No kidding.
You ever heard of the company Grinds coffee
Yep.
pouches?
Grinder?
Listen to these flavors. Ugh. Vanilla, caramel, cinnamon whiskey, New Orleans style, whatever that means, wintergreen, orange citrus, double mocha, spearmint, cinnamon roll, double shot espresso. For tobacco.
And it's coffee grounds that you're putting in your mouth.
What?
Oh,
yeah, that's why they
weird.
call them grinds. They're coffee grounds.
I don't like that.
Why did so tobacco and nicotine free? Oh, so it's literally just that's
Caffeine.
weird.
Dude,
Yeah,
what's that do
that's
to
weird.
your teeth?
Oh,
yeah, I don't know.
There's people I used to know that used to chew coffee grounds. Like just coffee grounds out of the Folgers thing. Because it wasn't chewing, so you could chew. You could put it in your mouth. It's like, no, it's just coffee.
Wow. Like at
So-
work?
No, this was in high school. And they would
Oh.
spit in the plants. They'd sit next to a plant and spit in the plant.
Fertilizing the plant?
Yeah.
They actually like that's something that my mom told us to do is old coffee grounds. You can put it in your plants for like nutrients and stuff like that.
Because of
Oh.
much of the nitrogen.
I don't know if it was the nitrogen or whatever, but that was something that I had looked up of trying to find because all like you look up plants and like how to, I don't know, make them grow and be fine and not die. They say you have to add these fertilizers to them. Well, I don't want to have a bunch of plants and put a bunch of chemical fertilizers in them. So I was trying to look up like a natural fertilizer. And one of the guys did, it was like oats and a tea bag,
Like a black tea?
like a black tea. And then I think that was it. And it was like hot boiling water. And you pour it in there and you cover it for a while, whatever. And that mixture, whatever, produces a bunch of nitrogen. And
Hmm.
apparently nitrogen is like the guy says nitrogen is like protein for plants, so they get
Yeah, 'cause
stronger.
that's what's in fertilizer you put down in your grass.
So this apparently activates a bunch of nitrogen, and then you pour that into your plants. And it could be a more natural fertilizer than like getting a bunch of chemical stuff.
I could see that.
But
So Lucy has 4, 8, and 12 milligram packets.
ugh,
What are those?
6. Be good
So
to go to
double.
4.
Wintergreen, mango, cinnamon, apple ice, espresso, and mint.
How
I
much
feel like
are
I would
those?
only want mint.
A 6-pack is $40.
How much is a Rogue?
5 something, maybe close to 6.
So like 5. You said that was a 6-pack? Dang, so those are cheaper.
Yeah.
Because this would be like 30. Or no. 5. What is it? 5 times 6 of them. $30. Oh, and you said that was 40?
That's for the 8 milligram. Yeah, for $40. It's sick. Oh, here it is. $6.66 a can.
Oh, so those are more expensive.
No, it's the number of the devil.
Stay away. I was trying to read a little bit more about nicotine and stuff, and I'm just finding the same results. It's just still not great for
Well, that's what they say about raw milk too, but you're doing that.
you. Well,
It's all about perspective.
no, it's not. I mean, yeah, I guess you choose what data you want to,
You can
Take
justify
in.
whatever you want to do.
but the data on raw milk is much stronger. The
From-
negatives are not. Did you see Walmart just recalled like a bunch of broccoli?
Was it Walmart or Costco?
I saw
Costco was
Walmart.
eggs.
Oh, well, which I mean, the broccoli. It's like that could be going to any store. Who knows? But it was like
Is
the
it E.
packaged.
coli?
I don't remember what it was. No, something else. But yeah, they just recalled a bunch of. It was like the packaged broccolis, like cut up already
Yeah, like
in the packages.
it's usually what I get. Not at Walmart, but
Well, and that's like what I got the last time at Trader Joe's.
right.
I was like, oh, geez. But yeah, they just recalled a bunch of broccoli, and it's just like, you're not safe anywhere.
Well, his brother Carrie was talking about. I don't know who was like looking for it, whether it was the egg industry or just like the food industry, trying to find ways to get eggs to last longer. They're like, what can we put on them so that they last longer on the shelf, or when people buy them? Which also, like, how are you not going through?
Yeah. Why do you need eggs to last that long?
Yeah, like Carly said, like, how long does it take a family or even a single person to go through a pack of eggs?
I bet it's so that they can put more on the shelf, or like produce more eggs and have them sit on the shelf for longer at the grocery stores, not like in your fridge.
Yeah, but
That would be my guess.
what Carrie was laughing at is like, if you just leave eggs and don't wash them, they last up to like 3 to 4 months.
Yeah, they have like a natural film or something on them from.
I
when
don't
they're laid.
understand that. That is weird to me. That
Says
once you wash them, then they spoil quicker.
I don't know what it is exactly. That's just what we've always heard too.
I've heard the same thing. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, I bet it's just some
The-
sort of.
protective layer on the eggshell called the bloom helps keep bacteria out when unwashed. So it'll last around 2 weeks at room temperature. If you refrigerate them, it can last to 3 months or longer.
Oh, so you still have to refrigerate them to get them to last longer.
For that long period of time.
2 weeks at room temp, though, even.
Because like you watch like prepper videos and stuff, they have ways of preserving eggs in big jars too.
Because they pickle them,
Pickle them,
Yeah.
yeah.
which seems gross to me. But
Bars used to have those when I was a kid. Pickled eggs.
I
But
don't think it'd be
that's-
that gross because I
Uh-huh.
don't. At least the one that I watch, I don't think you like hard boiled them and then put them in.
Yeah.
I think
Oh.
These,
it
were,
was,
these
it
were
was-
already peeled. They were hard boiled.
So the video I watched was you put the eggs in without cracking it, without doing anything, and then you pull them out, crack them in your pan, fried egg.
oh, weird.
It wasn't like a already boiled. Cooked
I
egg.
wonder
Oh.
if the hard boiled ones would soak in the brine would soak into the egg though.
Oh,
As
yeah,
like that
yeah.
would be a good thing.
Yeah. Depending on what flavor. I mean, think you could flavor it.
Yeah.
Bacon
Make 'em
flavored eggs.
spicy. Yeah.
It's like breakfast all in one hand.
Yeah.
Breakfast in one bite. But
Yeah.
yeah, that goes back to like the shaking the milk, or what we found out with the hot sauce, where we get
Oh
one
my
brand of
God.
hot sauce in a little jar and no preservatives, good ingredients. Then you go to a medium to large sized container, has the preservatives in it.
Yeah.
Just because you probably have it for longer, so it's going to separate, all because we just don't want to shake it up. But yet, then when we have like a ketchup or mustard, you shake it before we use it,
Yeah,
and there no one
Because it's watery at the
cares
top.
about it, or
Yeah.
maybe because you can't see it. I don't know.
Well, and what we've talked about with the milk, like the homogenizing it just so that it's white all the way through, so it doesn't separate. You don't see the separation. That's all homogenizing does.
So
Is
why don't they
aesthetic.
just put it in a white container?
They used to, but then for some, I don't remember what
That's
the
why we
reason
did like
was.
cartons.
Yeah, like milk cartons.
Probably
But
because
then-
plastic is cheaper to make
That would be my guess.
than
They started doing
cardboard.
plastic, and then now you could see the milk, and you could see the separation, and I don't even think people cared, but then they just started doing that so it looked better. Anything that looks better on the shelf, people are going to buy.
Right.
Well, and
You
I don't
want
know
the
if
milk that's pure white or the one that's separated.
you read this or if this was just thinking about it. Because they did the cartons for so many years, that generation of people growing up with the carton of milk, they were used to not seeing it. So you had the disconnect of, it started with people having their maybe even own farms, or you go and you get them in the glass containers, to then they're hidden, you can't see it in the cardboard one. Now those people that are still drinking milk, when you roll out the plastic jugs, they're like, we've only seen milk fully.
Yeah,
White.
we barely have ever seen it. There's people that probably grew up without ever getting milk in a jar, and they're just in cartons, and then now you see it and you're like, why is it separated?
I didn't even know it did do
think
that.
if they. I don't think they had gallon-sized cartons though.
So maybe
Oh,
that's
yeah,
why
probably
too
not.
you couldn't buy it in bulk. So
Yeah.
they didn't want to do that.
Right.
What did you guys think about the Bryan Johnson thing we watched?
He's a freak.
He's a freak.
He's so self-obsessed with himself that just turns me off. It's all about. I mean, he's reading his comments on his YouTube videos and his posts. It's like, come on, you know
Yeah.
you're gonna get hate stuff, and then you turn around and you see like, don't die hikes all across the world, and it's like he's over there hugging people. And he's just too LA for me.
To LA.
Would
Yeah.
have said that even if you didn't live in LA.
That's his attitude, though.
If you put his attitude aside, what do you think about like what he's doing?
Like I said, I think he's a human lab experiment.
Yeah.
He's a human rat.
I think that's cool. Like going through all these, not even kind of experiments, but like, because so many of our studies are rats and mice, that he is like, I'm going to be the human example and going to push
But
us and
he's
see.
not doing like there was a comment in there that said he's doing all these things all at once. So how do you determine which one is working and which one's a waste?
Oh, sure.
If he takes 54 supplement vitamins for breakfast, it's like, well, how do you narrow down which ones are working, which ones aren't working?
Well, and I think you have to take in consideration too, like everybody's genetics are different. So what he's taking probably isn't going to work for the next person. Exactly. Because he said like he had, I don't remember how many biomarkers, but like a ton
All
of
of them.
biomarkers that were perfect.
All of them.
Like all of them were an optimal. To where that same supplement routine, everything he's doing, you put it to the next person, not all of their biomarkers might be optimal. But he's done some things where, like, I think it was metformin. He was taking metformin for a long time. And then through taking it, he was noticing, or they, as a team, was noticing that it just didn't seem like it was giving him as much benefit as that was worth his goals. So he stopped taking it. Well, now you have an example of him not taking something versus taking something. And then what does it change in the biomarkers of that? You can't get a perfect study. You
I
can't get a
agree.
perfect representation of like what's going to work, what's not going to work, and the concoctions that he's doing and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's the attitude and the type of person that he is that people don't like about him, to where if you could separate that and just go, okay, what is he doing objectively, well, he's figuring some stuff out, and maybe we're going to learn some stuff because of all the experiments and shit that he's doing.
Because those things can't be funded otherwise, or there's not a reason to fund them. So he's like
No.
personally funding these experiments and being the test subject to where how can you find something so isolated or a subject that you can keep for months on end and monitor their every move versus some stranger that signs up for a study. You can't really control their life as much as he is able to, but it mostly comes down to the money, is they're not going to fund.
Well, that's
No
one of the
studies.
doctors was saying is it's so expensive to do human studies.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, is he getting his supplements for free from these companies to say, hey, we can't fund to do this with a 100 or 1,000 person blind study. We're going to give it to you.
Potentially, yeah. That's what I've always thought is funny is like, whether it's podcasts or anything, the people who get the sponsorships and get all that stuff for free, a lot of the time is the people who need it the least. It's like, you can afford all this stuff. Why are you getting all this shit for free? To where the people that need, it's not, usually the sponsorships and the advertisement aren't stuff that you even need. But I just always think that's weird of like, yeah, we're sponsored by Nike, so I get a bunch of free Nike pairs and whatever. My 2 seconds at Louisville, I'm like, Jesus Christ, the amount of free shit that these athletes get. It's like, I walk in, they're like, here's a shirt, here's shorts, here's cleat, like, here's 4 different pairs of cleats that you're going to have. Like, pick your size and what you want. And I'm like, you know how many people don't have cleats? And these are like one-time game use cleats. It's like, that is so fucking weird. Like, there's so much, and I'm like, other people need shirts, t-shirts, shorts, cleats, and all this type of shit. Like, not me. I can get a pair of cleats and wear them, but they want everything uniform. It's all about putting money into that so that they can make more money.
Well,
And
it's
then-
that company's way of advertising as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think at that time Louisville was Adidas, so it was like everything is Adidas, and you're getting all this new Adidas stuff. And
When I was in high school, when we started our high school, the Badgers used to have their two-a-days there. So they would basically take over all our practice fields, and they would have their own like pop dispensers, and they brought all their own weight room up there. And they would stay on one side of the building, and we would stay on our side, our normal side. But those guys the punters would kick field goals, and they would go into the tall grass, and they would just leave it. So we'd go out there after at night and
just kicking
snag
balls.
footballs.
Yeah.
And they would give us like, because they all had like the property of UW football athletics,
Yeah.
T-shirts and shorts. They would give us clothes to run down to the grocery store to get them like Doritos and hot dogs because all their food was all catered and it was all like, steak and all protein, high quality stuff.
Yeah.
And they were paying us to go down to the grocery store to get
Yeah.
Doritos and stuff. But they would give us like shirts and shorts and
Yeah.
Shit, that's free to them.
Yep.
yeah, they
Still.
just say, "Oh,
They're
I need
like-
another pair of shirt or I need
Yeah.
another shirt or pair of shorts."
Or it's like for you guys having a Badgers shirt or whatever.
Yeah,
it's
it's
like,
cool.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't something you bought at the, at a store.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
at the actual.
Yeah.
Granted, I was 130 pounds and these guys are all 200 something.
Yeah.
So there's no way I'm wearing any of their shirts or
Yeah.
shorts. You
You're
know?
wearing dresses.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think about that when you see like, the mattresses and get a mattress for this much, whatever. Somebody's getting sponsored, and it's like they got mattresses for free, and it's like you can buy 1 million mattresses if you wanted. But there's people that
It was like
Can't get a
Rogan
new
with all of
mattress.
like the cold plunges and the Gary Brecka's whole system. It's
Yeah.
like, this is $600,000.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'll get you one.
the
But
red
if you're
light
going to
therapy.
advertise, you want
Why
to put it on somewhere that somebody that's
Right.
popular that people are going to see it.
Yeah,
Someone
it-
giving you free stuff, that's cheaper for the company than what they're going to pay for advertising.
Yeah, it makes total sense. It's just I'm always like, geez.
Look at professional athletes.
Yeah. Yeah, the people who end up making more and more money get more free shit because of advertisement.
Yeah.
To be able to put it on and
Well, like
Wear
people in
it
the
or-
public eye.
yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
just rich, no one cares about what you.
No.
No one's
No,
giving
they
you
hate
stuff.
you.
No one's
Look
giving you
at
stuff.
that Bryan Johnson guy. They hated him because he had so much money and could fund this himself. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, rich money. And the
Right.
Amazon guy,
Yeah, Bezos.
Bezos, yeah.
That's always annoying to me. It's like, that is a clear, oh, you're just pissed because you don't have money. This person is
Yeah.
a multimillionaire and can pay for stuff. That's the only thing that upsets you about it. Like, if you were in this situation, like I would love to do that, but I don't have the money to do that. But I'm not pissed because somebody else has money to do that.
Right.
To where people are just like, oh, that's so annoying. He's so rich and he's paying for all this shit, and who cares? And it's like, you are so, I don't know if it's insecure or whatever, but like, just because they have money doesn't mean they're an asshole now.
Look at any social media, though. How many times do you see somebody put a post on there and people are just slamming them left and right instead of like, hey, just good job, or just passing by, not saying anything? They got to tear him down instead of,
Yeah.
congratulating him or building somebody up.
Yeah,
Yep.
you'll get more people
I
to
think
hate.
that's our natural instinct, though.
Oh yeah.
Is if somebody's got something you have or want or don't have or want, you tear them down.
Well, and I think my guess would be it comes from, I think why we probably have lived so long is we had to figure out the problems and avoid them, and whether that's in people or situations, to where now it's like we're just designed to look at what are the issues here and pick apart what all the issues are, and now we just do it person to person. And we've talked about this too, of like in tribes they would gossip about the people because you're going to be a detriment to this tribe and could tear this whole thing apart with a disease or your attitude, or like, we don't know if you're going to end up just killing everybody in here. So like, you would pick apart people and make sure, okay, this person's not a part of this tribe because of these things, so you got to get out and go somewhere else. To where I think we kind of do that now. It just looks different, like in the social media thing.
I think you could do it anonymously now. You can just,
Well, yeah.
you're a keyboard warrior, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
So it's way easier because now you don't have to confront that person.
And you're getting popularity and publicity if you're good enough at it,
Right.
to where now you have a career and whatever, and tearing people down, talking and doing all that kind of stuff. And it's like that with the Bryan Johnson thing. They're just pissed because they don't like what he's doing or his attitude, or he tries one new supplement or one new thing. I mean, they talked about that of like him selling his own
Olive
oil and all of his own stuff. It's like, well, now he's just after the money and making money and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, potentially. There's a little bit of weirdness to that I could see, of like, you're a multimillionaire. Why do you need more money and why do you need to sell a product? But at the same time, he's developing his own products and stuff. And then if he's seeing benefits from it and he wants to share that to people, well, you don't have a market of just giving shit away.
I agree with that statement, but he's taking 150 things or 150 different measures that he's doing to improve health. Why olive oil? Wouldn't you think he'd be better off to me like, here's my Vitapack where it's like 10 different vitamins that you take throughout the day? You think it'd be too expensive that people would just be like, nope, it's out of price range?
Well, I don't know. Maybe he does have that too, because he's got more than just the olive oil. He's got a bunch of different things. I don't know what's all under that, but
to me, I bet the olive oil thing is like, and that's what I want to eventually talk about in this episode or the next one, is like, what are the trends that we're going to see happening? I think those products are becoming more popular because they are weird. Like, it's kind of like we're bored with vitamins. We're bored with we're kind of getting bored with the supplements. So now it's like, oh, well, all these supplements didn't work for me. Maybe an olive oil would. Like, you have to go farther
what people
out.
already know.
Yeah.
I think. And then olive oil is something that already has a whole manufacturing process and all that kind of stuff.
There are stores dedicated to just olive oil.
Yeah. To where supplements do too, but if he's taking over 100 supplements, how do you break that down into, like, he's probably paying over $1,000 a month in supplements.
Easily.
People aren't going to
easily
do that.
You missed the part where he showed his vitamin warehouse. It was like a pantry. And it was just shelves of bottles of vitamins. And some of them were like the ones we get from Amazon with the blue and orange.
Yeah, the Now brand.
Now, yeah. Some of those were that.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't pronounce what they were, but.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know it's hard. It's always hard to distinguish, like, is this person selling something because he wants they want other people to get the same health benefit or whatever that they are? Or is it a money grab? Because he's obviously a health conscious person and wants to be healthy himself. Does he want that for other people? How do you just give away olive oil to everybody?
Oh, you don't. Yeah.
So it's like, where's the line? Are you, and it's just, you can't distinguish it. You can't figure it out. I think that's why people get pissed too. It's like, well, you're selling all your own shit now. It's like, well, he's taking all this stuff. Do you want him to just give it away for free?
Well, that's what is worse, because if his products are actually good quality, that to me is better. I also don't like, yeah, sell your stuff. Like, you're a businessman. You have pull, you have influence, you're in this world. Yeah, make money off of it. And it's like, if your stuff is good ingredients and tested in quality, then yeah, use your influence to get that out there. That's better to me than some random Instagram influencer that just gets to push whatever products because they're popular and it's shit products. Like,
Yeah,
at least you're selling more good quality stuff because we need more of that out on the market. But what I was going to say about the money thing, I think why people see that and shit on it right away is the same thing with the tribe of like, do we correlate money with power? So then are we seeing someone like him that has a lot of money and go, oh, he could be the one that like makes weird decisions, or like Bezos or like Elon.
Or
They
do we
have
see
so much
him-
money that they have power.
Do we see him figuring out the aging process or the health process, and we shit on him because we're fat and sitting on our couch?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
There's a ton of that, I bet.
The other thing with him though is I kind of just, I guess, equated this to. Okay, here I started going to Costco, and now
We know.
everything I talk about is Costco. Costco's great. Costco's great. Am I like that 40-year-old overweight guy who finds fitness for the first time in his life, and now that's all he talks about? Is Bryan Johnson the guy who's figuring this stuff out, and now he just wants to promote it to everybody he talks to?
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's his motivation for the YouTube clips and the social media stuff.
Yeah.
Is that he's just so, I don't want to say proud. Not
Well-
like Costco proud like me. But
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, you genuinely love Costco. What if Costco started paying you
To talk about it.
to talk about it and to give stuff away?
they know I just spend more money there.
Well, but then it's like, you actually love it and want other people to go there and have the same feeling and stuff that you do, but now you're making money off of it. So
Oh,
like,
hell yeah, I'd do it.
so then going to Bryan Johnson, it's like, well, why is he an asshole then? If he's
I'm
selling
not
products.
walking around Costco with my phone doing streaming videos.
But what if they
Yes.
paid you to do that?
I wouldn't do that. I'm not that type of person.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
But is that person shitty for doing that?
If that's already in their personality.
If I'm in there shopping when they're doing it, yes, it's shitty, stupid.
No, like if I don't know, say Rogue sponsored us. I've already been taking this and using this. Now I make money from it and want other people to have it because I have a positive experience.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
And that's what I think he's doing. Is he's found better ways to like get better olive oil, or his whole brand of Blueprint and whatever stuff they're making with that and doing that. He's finding benefit from that and now selling it. So is he shitty for doing that?
There's the difference, though. He's selling it instead of Rogue giving you free tins of chew, just to say, hey, this stuff's awesome. I love it. Here's why. It's not go to ChaneyPasser.com and buy my.
So what if I start a cattle farm and I'm eating perfectly natural, clean meat, and
That's
now I
your
want to
business?
sell that? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's you're advertising for yourself.
So I think
so then why is he shitty for doing it? And I'm not saying you're saying that.
Because
He's
he's
how
not
everybody else acts.
advertising for himself. He's advertising for this mountain of products he's taken and this hundreds of thousands of dollars of medical services that he's doing, probably getting paid for, maybe getting it free. I should say maybe getting
Probably
it free.
getting it free, yeah. I just think
It's close, but it's not the same.
I think it's interesting to put it into, okay, what if this was you now? Like, you know your own morals and integrity and all that kind of stuff. We just don't. I think we don't trust people naturally. It's like
Right.
we're always like,
Right.
well, he's probably got something weird that he's trying to
We
make more money
always
or
think
do
there's
something.
a scheme.
Yeah, yeah. We think it's a multi-level marketing scheme all the time. To where now, if you go like, well, what if you're like, what's your favorite thing, and what if you were able to sell that, and it's your company now, and you're like, what if you were able to build a Costco, and that's now successful making money? Like, are you shitty now just because you sell something, or does your morals and integrity still hold up?
I think part of for me it's the self promotion. I've always been just like let your actions speak for who you are.
So
You
you'd
don't
be
have to
fine.
go on telling people.
So you'd be fine if there was his companies and his brands, but he wasn't a face of it at all. You don't want to know the owner of the company.
I just don't. That's just not me. The self promoting thing. That's just not me.
Yeah, I get that.
So, but I mean, there are obviously a lot of people that do it, and that's how they survive or make money, or
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
I think why people have a problem with it is because he already has money. For some reason, I think people correlate, because I've heard this with other people too. They're like, well, why do you need more money? It's like, well, why not? I think because he already has money, now that they're pushing out a product, it like the scheme radar goes off even more.
We want the come from nothing story.
Sure.
We don't want the you're already a multi-million. Like, that's why we hate the trust fund kids. They didn't do anything to make that money or work for it, and now they just have it, and then they continue to build a company, or they can now take $10 million and go build a company and make it successful. Like, we want it to be you were in your mom's basement, you know, and not able to do anything, and then
grinding supplements together, figuring out what works, and then you sell it.
Yeah, and I don't dislike him for what he's doing. It's
the LA attitude.
Yeah, I just don't like him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's getting super creepy with his kid.
He is nerdy. I think that's what comes across from both him and his son is like, oh, you're nerds.
Yeah. Yeah,
you're nerds.
They seem socially awkward.
Yes.
And then they have to be so flamboyant.
Yes.
That, hugs for everybody, and that.
Yeah, I think they're awkward. They're weird. They don't know how to
and that's
act
a lot of
normal.
That's a lot of our culture now and it's shown that you can make money off of having a personality. So it's like, how do I create some sort of personality to make money off of? I don't know if that's what he's doing, but like all the influencers and all the people, it's like, I don't know. You just hear, oh, they were a nobody in high school, or they, were quiet and whatever. And now all of a sudden they're making videos and like they're this alter personality. And who is this person? And now it's like, well, we are making people famous just based off their personality. Look at the Hawk Tuah girl. Like, she just had a normal job and says one thing on a video interview, and then she comes and does her own cryptocurrency and now is in a scandal with that. It's like, it's literally just her personality.
And I think she was just trying to be funny. That wasn't even what she was set out to do. She was drunk, I think, outside a bar.
Yeah.
So she was just being drunk.
Yep.
21-year-old or whatever she is.
Yeah.
She just went viral because of what she said.
Yeah. And then now it's like, I think she has her own podcast and she is getting her own companies. People are coming to her to like, let's do this and make more money and all this kind of stuff. And it's because she said one thing on an interview.
But
that's
she'll
just the world
fade out.
We live in.
Next year, you won't even remember who she was.
Yeah, there's so many people that.
And like we were saying the other day, they didn't even mention her name in the article. It was Hawk Tuah girl.
Yeah.
It wasn't even her. They're like, what's her name again?
Yeah.
Yep.
So her 15 minutes of fame are done. I mean, it comes down to what she said.
Yeah.
Which whoever she started working with was smart, because they like pushed her out on every podcast and got her correlated with products and whatever. It's like she made her money in her spotlight, because she went on Whitney Cummings and she was like, yeah, I'm pretty close to being able to buy a house in California. It's like whoever she was working with was like, you're in the steam right now. Let's get you as much money as possible before this fades, because it will fade. So let's profit off of it hard.
Which is like, she could disappear and potentially buy design. I made enough money. I'm going to see you later.
Sure.
Hillary Duff.
Yeah.
Where's she at now? Wife and 2 kids?
No idea. No idea.
Because didn't she quit Disney to go to college?
Yeah, I think so. I think she eventually came back with music again.
I thought she
But-
was just in a show or movie that we watched
I don't know.
But
it was
somewhat
after.
recently.
15 years.
Yeah.
Well, let's look it up.
We'll just keep the camera on you so everybody sees it. You know what? No, be comfortable. You're in your own home.
Well, she's on her second divorce or second marriage. She's 37.
That makes sense.
It's so weird now how it really is like anybody can get publicity and
Well, that's what,
spotlight and money for that, and like I think I feel like it used to be a little bit more you had, I don't want to say talent, but like talent, work ethic, somewhat you had to somewhat like do something for a little while and get a skill at it, and then you would get paid for that. To where now it literally is. You get caught on a video and now she's a millionaire. Now you're a millionaire.
yeah.
And it's like she wasn't even trying to be. She wasn't trying to do a thing at all. She just said something on a mic.
I wonder if the guy that posted the video, if he had a following already.
Potentially, yeah. Well,
He was probably one of those. Yeah, I think he was one of those kids that just walks around the college campuses and just.
But does he have a following doing that? Because there's a
Yeah,
bunch of people
because
that
you
do
see
that
there's
too.
like several people that do that. And I don't know if he was, but they'll like go up to these girls outside and be like, "What's your ideal man? Would you
Yeah,
date
yeah,
a guy
yeah.
that's makes $50,000?"
Yeah.
It's like those type of things.
I've seen a person that does that where they go to like they would go like downtown Naples by the beach and like knock on people's door and
Mhm.
ask what they do for a living.
Yeah.
It's like, how did you make this money? Or they show up in a nice car, and as soon as they get out of the car, what do you do for a living?
Yeah. It's weird.
But what I was gonna say about the comment thing earlier, just like being able to, even the Bryan Johnson, like giving. You have people that can get so much access to you. That's like unless he wasn't doing the YouTube and posting on Instagram and all that stuff, like these people would not be able to talk to this guy. Like this guy does not just like has email out there or has a website that you can connect with. Like these people are so close to our reach, I guess, to be able to contact these people. But that even through comments, it's like what Chris Stefano's dad talked about of like there are too many people that think they should have a voice. It's like you're not going to have a lot of people that just scroll past things. Like even we're talking about on a podcast, which who should say that we should be having a podcast, but even that you can click on that or click off of that. You can choose to watch that. That people commenting on his stuff. It's like these are, and dare I say it, just a bunch of nobodies that like you think that your thing should be heard. Your ideas should be heard or your comment on it should be heard, which I think those people are doing the same thing that Bryan Johnson is doing, is you're somewhat doing it for the attention regardless of what type of attention it is, to where at least he is doing it from a productive, it's still very self-fulfilling, it sounds like I think he even talks about it from the emotional stance of he didn't like his relationships before, he didn't like the communities that he was in, that he is using this to fulfill people caring about him. He doesn't really care how it is or if it's negative or positive, but then the people commenting and talking about it on the news or writing about it, reporters talking about it, it's just a bunch of people that think their voice matters, and I don't think it should.
Yeah, I mean, there like everybody's able to say whatever they want, always. That's what's cool about our country, I guess. But not everybody. That doesn't mean that everybody has good points. It's like 90% of the comments on anything is just bullshit. Who cares? Whatever. It's like whether it's people trying to get a laugh or people just trying to be mean because they feel insecure or whatever. But 90% of it, I think, is just, it doesn't do anything.
Well, and a lot of times I think when people have read their own comments like on a podcast or something and they're talking about a topic, most of the time I think it's people just completely missing the point
Oh,
as
yeah.
well.
Yeah,
It's
for
like
sure.
that's not even what they're talking about, or like
Yeah.
you aren't aware enough of whether it's this topic or even you didn't watch enough of the video that you're commenting on 2 seconds of something. It's like this isn't even what they're talking about or trying to get through.
Yeah.
Like you're going off of left field and then complaining about what you're finding in left field. It's like they're not even talking about that.
Here's a question. What did we watch that on Netflix?
Yeah.
Did he do that? Did he bring that up himself? Or did somebody go to him and say, we want to do a documentary on you? Or did he like, hey, I want to do a documentary myself?
And
or
then
a
fund it.
biography
I
and then paid for it?
the way like this is just my guess. The tone of it seemed like him and his team were definitely the creators and like very involved in the process. Which you see that with like the Vince McMahon documentary too. I don't know if he was necessarily a creator or a part of it, but like these documentaries are so biased to whoever made it.
Sure.
To your point of what you're bringing up, to where it seemed like that was his thing.
Which
Because they brought up some of his scandals, quote unquote, that they kind of not debunked, but like showed a different side of it and made it
Oh,
seem
like the ex-girlfriend
right
lawsuit thing?
and made it seem more on his side of it of like, yeah, you should believe him or what he's saying, and like here's his side of it, not just the other person's side of it.
And the poor me, my 2 kids that don't live with me don't talk to me because of my religious beliefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's what do they say? There's 3 sides to every story. Like,
Your side, my side, and the truth.
yeah. To where who knows what the real
Which,
thing is.
I mean, that's what a lot of comedians are doing now is they will fund their own special and then basically try to sell it. So they might have created that documentary how long ago and then went to Netflix and was like, you could purchase this. Because they could
Yeah.
have gone to Amazon and Hulu and just whatever one picked it up for the most amount of money, they sold them something that they had already created and edited together.
Yeah. That would be my guess of what the Adam Ray one was, the Dr. Phil thing. I bet that they just, because he shoots things like that, I don't know how often, but he'll always do that Dr. Phil show and they have it shot at the Comedy Store and do all that kind of stuff. I bet they just shot that one themselves, paid for all of the production, all that kind of stuff. And
That
then
was on
went to,
Netflix?
Yeah.
Oh,
and then went to Netflix and was like, hey, we have Dr. Phil on our thing. Like, you want to put this out there as a comedy special? And probably was able to sell it. That would be my guess.
You basically fund it yourself and hope that you recoup the money.
And
yeah.
what a lot of the comedians do now is they will do that, and then if nobody wants to buy it, they just put it up on YouTube. And YouTube is like, you get enough views and all that kind of stuff, like you're making money off of that, and then the publicity you get from that, they can now go on the road and sell more tickets because they had a special on YouTube that people watched for free. And
Does for YouTube for it to be monetized? Is that what they call it? Be monetized?
Mm-hmm.
Does it have to be within a certain amount of time, or is like 4 years later now it reaches 100,000 views or subscribe, whatever it is? I don't know what it is, but
I have no idea.
It's all, I'm pretty sure it's all over because it's more like what does your channel bring in? So
Okay.
if they keep that on that channel, yeah, I think you can monetize off of that until forever.
But when do you? Mean, does it have to go viral?
It just has to be over a certain amount of views and watch time, I think.
Because like you guys started your podcast what 3 years ago in Texas,
Yeah.
Then we stopped it for a little bit.
Yeah.
but say some of those early videos have now reached 1,000 views or 100,000 views, whatever it is. Does YouTube come to you and be like, "Hey, here's a 100,000 view,
Kinda, yeah. Like,
and now we're gonna put ads on your"?
yeah. Well, I think there's 2 ways to make money that way. You get it off of the views because I think it's like more of the watch time. So yes, we could still make money off of videos from 3 years ago.
Okay.
If it eventually reached that, then it would allow your account to switch on settings to be able to be monetized. And then you can also put the AdSense on, which that's like where they can put ads in your videos, and that's where you can make money off of that.
Okay.
But I think a lot of people also make money off of some brand would contact you and say, hey, can we sponsor this video? We'll pay you to then talk about it in your video. And I think a lot of people make probably more money off of doing that.
I hate those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate those just as much as ads on YouTube. So it's always like and let me tell you this. Hey, let's go to an ad.
Yeah.
What if you're making $50,000 to talk about a deodorant? You wouldn't care that much.
In that documentary, there was somebody that commented. They showed one of the comments of like, or somebody was talking maybe, and they said like he doesn't even look that healthy. They did that same thing to Ben Greenfield too.
Sure, it's just because he's skinnier.
That stuff makes me laugh so much because it's like you don't even know what healthy looks like.
Right. I thought he looked really good for his age. I don't know how old is he, Courtney?
Well, but like when they were showing him before and then to now, like it looks
night and day.
It looks like a totally different person. And then I think you would obviously say that him now looks healthier than him before. But the people that are like, he doesn't even look that healthy. He's skinny and he's white and he's like, you can see all of his like, weird like skin fascia. Like when he was doing some like resistance band thing, pull apart, like you can see almost like the muscle fibers.
Yeah, that's
on his
awesome.
skin. And then there's people like, he doesn't even look that healthy. It's like,
I wonder what his body fat percentage is.
He's 47 years old.
Oh,
I'm sure you could find body fat.
Towards the end of the documentary, he started looking more and more like his son.
I thought he started looking better as the documentary went on too. But I agree. Like our brain is so contorted in what we think. Like we could see a bodybuilder and we're like, that's the epitome of health.
yeah.
It's
and
like,
that
that guy can't get out of bed in the morning. He needs to stretch every time he works out. His joints hurt. He has inflammation on the ass. Like
his blood pressure is probably through the roof.
But people are so superficial. They just look at looks. They don't know what, it's like the whole skinny fat thing.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And that's what I think is interesting about the health stuff now is we're so much more into the biomarkers and what is the insides.
Well, you guys are.
The stuff that we're seeing or watching, it seemed like it's changed more to that. It's not the aesthetic. What do you look on the outside? It's more, what's your blood pressure? What are all your biomarkers saying? And what's your,
I totally disagree.
A1C and all that. That like looking at somebody on the outside, you have no idea what's going on internally. And I think that is a more clear indication of health than
for sure
what you look on the outside.
But I think most people, why is Ozempic so big then in the weight loss community? They just care about what they look like. And why this whole big booty thing for women? It's like, you're fat.
Yeah. Well,
seriously.
I mean, I guess you have to go through a range of what you think is a big butt or not. Because like for some, that's just genetics. They just have that type of figure.
But women build big butts. You were saying
like you're trying that's their goal.
Yeah, they're getting implants.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that I would say is not healthy. But
like this girl at the gym yesterday, she did nothing but legs and
she probably will do that every time she comes in.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was funny. He doesn't even look that healthy. It's like, well, almost all of his biomarkers say that he's healthy. So you either have a weird view, like that's the other thing. You shouldn't look at somebody and determine whether they're healthy or not. I think you can get a general idea, like the BMI thing. You get a general idea of where this person's health is at, but we have no idea what's going on internally.
Well, the amount of people that say, yeah, we're healthy or we eat pretty healthy, it's like, I'm looking at you.
They don't know. Yeah.
You are overweight. So right off the bat, no, you are not healthy. Yeah. There's no way your body would get overweight and keep those markers in check.
So here's the difference. You guys, you go up and ask 10 people on the street what a biomarker is, they couldn't tell you. But if you ask them if they were a healthy person, they'd be like, yeah, I eat 3 meals a day, or I eat every 2 hours, or, something.
Yeah.
I drink Diet Coke. You guys are so far in your own. You guys are so far up your own ass that you don't even realize. You guys are past physical being, thinking I'm healthy because I look good, that you guys are going deeper, like this Bryan Johnson guy, into what are my insides telling me? Like you were saying, is inflammation? Do I have inflammation? Do I have bloating? All these things are, my joint health.
Yeah, how many people can't even see what inflammation looks like on your body or feels like on your body?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You guys are kind of over here where the general public is still down here trying to do the Ozempic quick thing.
Yeah.
Quick results. Here's the other thing, not to change the subject, of Bryan Johnson. He had that TENS machine on.
Mm-hmm.
I get 20,000 sit-ups, the equivalent of 20,000 sit-ups done in a half hour. What's that helping?
Yeah.
Is that the vanity thing coming through?
Yeah, I don't know. Which I think it's like might just be a biohack of exercise type of thing. He doesn't have to do 20,000 sit-ups. He can just put a.
Why does somebody need to do 20,000 sit-ups?
But then why wouldn't you do it on all of your
muscles?
Right.
And that's where it's like, okay, you can get 20,000 sit-ups, but you're not moving your joints and your muscles. Like, you're doing that, but now there's no stretch in the lower back, and then like back to normal or contraction in the lower back. Like, you're not getting a full body movement through everything. So it's like, sure, that's maybe, I would say it's probably a good hypertrophy thing of you put that on, you get muscle activation and you're getting a bunch of that. But I don't even know if there's studies or anything that shows that those things work as far as building muscle or growing muscle or any of that sort of stuff. But like, I don't know. That's just one of those like, cool, but what does this help in the overall scheme of things? To where, yeah, that maybe is just a aesthetic.
Because he had those weights in the garage, but how many times did you see him using them? He was on the treadmill while his kid was lifting weights.
Well, and his whole thing, like we talked about this morning, of his whole thing is longevity. So everything he does is going to be based around that.
So you're not going to see probably the similar workouts that you would see most people doing in the gym.
So he's not going to go to the gym and do a chest workout.
Right.
And I think that's where people get weird with this stuff too, is like,
well, it's the same thing with Ben Greenfield.
They have their own idea of what, like the getting healthy. Well, I eat healthy. Well, you eat healthy based off of an article or something that you read or somebody told you of, I got to eat every 2 hours. That's now your version of eating healthy, to where that could necessarily be, it could be right for you if you're also picking the right foods, but just that thing alone doesn't mean that you're eating healthy. Just like your workouts. Well, I do, deadlift, squats, and bench every day, and that's all I do. Okay, well, what are your goals and what are you achieving? You're reaching towards that. That doesn't mean that is the epitome of exercise.
There is no one size fits all.
It's like you have to, it's goal oriented of what you're trying to do. If you're trying to hypertrophy, build muscle and whatever, you're going to do different things than you're going to do. Like, I'm going to try to be a strong man, or I'm reaching for longevity. Like, he's probably not doing super heavy deadlifts or squats or bodybuilding type workouts.
No, didn't he say he did HIIT workouts?
He's doing like sled pulls, sled pushes, functional movements, that sort of stuff.
You want to be probably a little bit decent at a lot of the things.
Yeah. Well, and he's just
you also don't want to overstress your body in one way.
And he's just probably not doing anything that's going to promote like a whole bunch of muscle hypertrophy. That's not his goal. His goal is to live as long as possible. So the things that you're doing is, well, can I move for as long as possible? What's good for my knee health? So now he's, pulling the sled backwards, and he's got a machine where he like treadmills backwards and does all this different stuff. That is his goal. So then when people are like, well, his exercises are stupid, it's like, well, for what he wants, that's what he's doing. For what you want, it's stupid because you're trying to be a strong man and you're deadlifting 500 pounds every day.
Yeah, it's like a basketball player and a football player don't work out the same.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here's my other question, though, is when he did the genetic or the stem cell thing.
Yeah.
And it said at the end, after 6 months, he increased 7% of his muscle mass.
Well, that was a steroid. It wasn't a stem cell thing. That was some steroid that like bodybuilders were using back in the day, but there was.
Oh, I thought that was the stem cell thing.
It was something with a P, I think. I don't know.
What he went to Honduras to do?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that was a stem cell thing.
To where if longevity wise that is beneficial to him, then it worked in his favor and what he wanted. But like he's not going to go do a full steroid cycle to become a Olympian
Right.
for what his goals are. To where then there's that group of people that's like, this guy doesn't even bench press. How can he say that he's strong or trying to be
strong.
whatever? Yeah. But
And I don't know if that was maybe because he had just low body fat.
yeah, it could be. Well, I wonder what his 6 foot, whatever, 100 and whatever pounds. I'm sure it's all within what his
Frame.
and like his genetic markers are saying. This is where you're going to live the longest, is if you're at this weight and based on your height and whatever.
Yeah, some of the things I think he was doing were really good. Other things I think were more vanity.
I think the main overview positive, to turn it into a positive of what I would take away from it, and kind of what we talked about this morning, like it shows and puts a spotlight on how encompassing fitness and health can be. Can be, should be, who knows, but like, yeah, the fact of how many people that are probably like, he doesn't even look that good. Or Ben Greenfield, like, he doesn't even look that healthy. He doesn't look that good. It's like, we are so distorted in what we think health is nowadays that we see that and we're like, oh, he doesn't even look that good. It's like, because we think bodybuilders or physiques that look good, we correlate that to health, which is just wrong. And we think the way that we eat and some supplements, like, that'll be the end all be all, fix everything, that we don't even know what healthy food means anymore. That I think it shows how many avenues you can be focusing on.
Well, yeah, and it's a lot more than just aesthetic.
Like, I don't think we even come close to understanding the complexity of our body and how everything is interchanging and correlated with each other, and brain health connected to your physical health, and all the different layers that can be paid attention to that we just don't. It's like I said, I don't know if it should be, we should all be focusing on that, but the fact that you can, and that could be the answer to a lot of our societal problems.
Well, and you look at what people say they want too, it's drastically different. Look at all the females that are like, well, if I want to be with somebody that's like kind of got a dad bod and whatever. It's like, okay, well, you can have that person, but that same person,
they're going to die young.
is the same person that's saying like, that guy doesn't even look healthy. And it's like, well, you want to be with a dad bod person. That person's not healthy.
Because they're probably not healthy.
Right.
So
and it's
if they're looking for somebody with a dad bod, it means they don't have to look good themselves.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's something you say all the time. Like, we're all looking at things through our own insecurities. That's like the people that are saying he doesn't even look that healthy. You've got probably something weird. Like, you don't feel healthy. You don't feel like you're doing enough for your health. You're with somebody that's maybe unhealthy. And there's for sure a world where you don't want those things. You wouldn't want to be with somebody that looks like that. That's not attractive to you, whatever. But to say that it's unhealthy or he doesn't look healthy, statistically, you're just wrong based off of his biomarkers and everything. So it doesn't matter what you like or want. You're just wrong by saying he looks unhealthy, because that he's showing that this is what healthy does look like.
Right.
And it's like when we did our inflammation test, we were extremely inflamed and we looked generally healthy. But
now looking back,
inside,
looking back on those podcasts when we were in Texas, especially, I'm like, oh my God. Like, now knowing what inflammation looks like and what it feels like too, but what it looks like, I'm like, oh, I look like puffed out and bloated in my face and everywhere. It's like, and I was the same weight. Like, nothing really changed as far as what we were eating changed, but like working out just as consistently. Like, you could say my general health scheme was the same, again, same weight, but it's like my body composition dramatically different.
I don't know if I still know what inflammation feels like or doesn't feel like. Non-inflammation feels like.
Well, yeah.
I mean, look, I didn't even know what high blood sugar felt like.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you're not,
I mean, I was loaded with inflammation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell you, like,
what does it feel like to not have it?
Yeah, because I'm sure I've always had it.
that's just the norm.
Right.
That's just what you feel like. To where until you get those things actually tested or checked, we're working out every day or, every other day, 5 days a week. We're eating whole natural foods. We're doing this. We're doing that. It's like you think you're doing all the stuff, but then once you get it checked, you're like, oh, well, shit, I'm extremely inflamed. I need to do things for this now. And I'm glad we did it again, probably a year later, with some different changes and tweaks. And then like both of our inflammations has come down almost by half. And it's like, yeah, we might feel a little bit different, might look a little bit different, but it's like we now know actually what's going inside on our body, that things are different and changed. It's like, well, now there's no, I don't know, surprises or whatever when it's like, I was doing everything right. I don't know what's wrong. It's like, well, you think you were doing everything right, but you never checked anything out to see if any of it was right. You just were kind of going without any data,
Going from what you know.
And like visually on the outside and maybe like gut health wise or skin health wise, but it's like you don't know.
Well, and
unless you
that's
get it
where
checked.
I think the more you know, the better you are at taking care of yourself, because now I know what it starts to feel like when I get bloated. Like, we don't use our body enough, I think, when as far as it giving us signs.
No, we leave it so much up to what other people are saying or what.
It's like, if it's not the obvious, like, okay, well, I'm not gaining weight or I'm thin. Okay, so then I must be fine. It's like, okay, well, are you breaking out on your face? And even where you're breaking out on your face should show you what is wrong. Or is your hair thinning? Is your hair changing color? Are you noticing that certain joints are having problems? Are you noticing that your sleep being different? Are you having aches and pains in specific spots? Well, all that will mean specific things that we don't really allow ourselves to have our body tell us what's wrong. Towards like, if I started getting the inflammation again, I would be able to tell. Or like when my bloating starts to kick up. It's like, these are all signs that I'm doing something off.
Rabbit hole.
Well, you chalk it up to part of the game. My knee hurts. It's hurt for 10 years. That's just what it is.
Stepped on it wrong.
Yeah. And it's like, you're not doing anything about it. You're not trying to change anything. Like, it could be inflammation. It could be you stepped on it wrong. It could be what exercise you are doing is not helping it and it's aggravating it, or the lack of exercise that you're doing is aggravating it. You're 40 pounds overweight. Like, there's so many different things it could be, but we just go, yeah, this is what it is. I just have knee pain. That's my life. Like, well, that's a signal to you that something isn't working properly.
I can't squat because my knees hurt.
Yeah.
How many times do you hear that?
Yeah.
Or you don't deadlift after 35.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
no benefit. It's too much risk of injury.
Yeah, that drives me nuts.
Yes.
There was a podcast we were listening to the other day that he said that, like, yeah, I don't squat. There's too much risk or injury.
The
I'm
risk
like,
versus reward.
it's like, you are so, I don't know. That's crazy to me. So you're just going to completely take away a movement,
A functional movement
of your life because there's too much risk.
I was like, why is there
You drive
risk?
a car every day. You know how much risk is involved in driving a car? Like, what are you talking about?
Well, and it's like, what's the risk? What do you, like, if there's a risk, you're doing it incorrectly or you're doing it not with intention. It's like, well, because every time you're doing deadlifts, you're trying to max rep.
Right.
It's like, are you doing it with good form? Like,
yeah.
that should not have any more risks than you doing the other movements that he was talking about. Are you doing anything in the gym? It's like,
what's
you could
risky
do a
about
shoulder
picking
press
something
and
up
tweak
off
out
the
your
ground?
shoulder for.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you're just doing it funky then.
Well, and that same person was saying that they deadlifted. It's like,
So you'll deadlift but not squat.
You'll deadlift but not squat. But that doesn't make any sense.
That's because they suck at it. They just
Yeah.
don't
And
want
it's
to do
harder.
it.
Yeah, they're a
It's
taller
hard.
person, so then it.
It's hard. They don't like it. Muscles hurt.
And what I want to get into on the next episode is what I think is cool with doctors branching out on their own, like with the guy that you're working with now, Dad, that it's like, now you can get more of these markers checked and not just, I don't know what's going on, because maybe you're not listening, but maybe it's so deeply rooted that you don't really know what the problem is, that instead of just going with, well, I weigh this much and I look this way and I sleep generally fine, which even sleep I think would be too off the path for most people. You're able to get those tests done a little bit more.
Are you bringing it up now or the next episode?
The next one, but
Okay.
I'm just doing a preview.
So stay tuned for next time.
But I think it's cool that you can get these lab works done more regularly or readily to be able to see just what's actually going on.
They're not cheap though.
No, but they're at least available to where you
Yeah.
don't have to go through. I mean, like most doctors won't even give you them, which is a whole other thing. But yeah.
All right.
Wait, one more topic. You brought up trust fund kids before. Did you guys know that the average trust fund family after 3
years.
generations, you do know that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Gone.
crazy?
That is
Didn't
crazy.
you learn that in one of your investing books?
I don't remember. But yeah, that is crazy.
And
'Cause
same
isn't-
thing with
The
lottery
third-
winners. They say lottery winners typically go broke within 2 years.
Yeah.
Or 3 years.
Which
It's
it
2
makes
or 3
sense.
years.
The lottery thing that makes more sense to me than the trust fund kids, because the lottery, it's like you're just an average person. Like it's like athletes that go broke. It's like you're good at football. You're not good at managing money.
But wouldn't
then
you
you just
have
were
somebody in your
18 and
life
got
to
a
be
shit
like,
ton of money.
hey, you need somebody to manage your money?
No, because I mean, take our families. It's like if we just won a bunch of money, who would be telling us that?
I
It's
think
not-
we are way better with money than most people are.
Well, exactly. So then you take an average family.
There's
Most
not
people don't
one
know that.
person in a family that would just say, "This is a lot of money. Maybe you should think about long term."
I don't
I don't
know.
know. People don't talk about that stuff.
Well, because even within our families, it's like, who has the track record? I can't think of one person that has the track record of, especially when you're talking about like $1 million even.
I have an uncle.
So you would probably go to them.
Somebody like him or him.
That's where I think it's probably better to hire outside of the family
Oh, for sure.
than somebody in the family.
But to even have the knowledge to go, oh, I should talk to someone about this. I should hire
Yeah.
someone to manage
Yeah.
this.
Because I think it's probably way easier to blow that away than people think, because they're emotional. I mean, think about like all the stock market stuff. Even if you were just like, well, I'll just put that $1 million in the stock market and let it, grow. As soon as the market starts to dip a little bit, those people are freaking out because you've never had money in the stock market. You don't know
the
what.
stock market freaks out when it happens.
Yeah.
And these
To
are
where-
money people.
Yep. To where like I think the average person, even if you choose a smart thing to do, like investing or whatever, their emotions and their lack of skill or education within that thing, like that market's going to dip a little bit and they're going to hear all the like inflation's up and this president got elected and historically this means that the market will go down and we're on the brink of another depression and all this shit. And well, they just pull their money out and now they put it in a savings and now they just start chipping away at it. In 3 years, all of a sudden it's gone. Like I think it's probably way easier to blow through that than people think. When you don't have the money, you're like, well, I make this much a year. That means that $1 million would be,
10
whatever.
years, whatever.
It would be times this amount. So I could probably live off this much for however long. But then it's like, you buy a new truck, you maybe buy a new house, and then
Yeah.
you
There's a
start
TV
spending a
show
little bit
dedicated to
more.
buying houses.
Yeah.
The guy from Minnesota, he's like, can't remember what they call it, millionaire lottery, my lottery dream home or something like that.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
And most of these people win like $1 million or $500,000 is what the average, and it's like scratch offs or
Yeah.
they win like the super cash or something.
So
they're not-
$500,000, you should get a pretty close to a regular looking home. And they're probably
and
getting
a
like
lot of them are, but some people are, we're buying a second home now. So they buy like, in the Ozarks or where they vacation, they buy a home there instead.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my God. Think
to
it
where
through.
then like they maybe even if they kept their jobs, you now have 2 mortgages. Are you making enough to be able to afford both of those? So now
I
that
would hope that they're paying both off with the winnings.
With
you
$1
would
million
hope-
bucks, how?
Well, you could probably pay 2 houses off with $1 million.
But if you're buying a second house, that's
Well,
500,000.
figure this: if you win $1 million, you're getting what?
Well, yeah,
600,000.
you're
Where
only getting about half of that.
you might be able to purchase your second home outright, but
But what do they
Also
say about
depends on
people
where
that
you're-
play the lottery?
Yeah, they're not millionaires
Right.
already.
Like Dave Ramsey, poor people play the lottery.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
that's not. Yeah,
Or is that poor or stupid?
probably stupid.
I can't remember what he said it was, but smart people don't play the lottery, I think is what he said.
Yeah,
That's what I don't understand with the trust fund kids as much is how do they not pick up on the money behaviors?
Because
Like-
you don't learn them. You don't learn the value of money.
Yeah.
because the person who earned it, I think.
But like, do
I
you
think I
not
heard
see
it
your
off-
parent like working a lot?
But that parent they were able to provide what they didn't have. So now they want to, your kids don't have to work now. And they don't have to do this. They don't have to go through all the struggles that I went through. So now their kid doesn't really do anything. And then they grow up and maybe they inherit the family business, but they don't know how to run the family business. And now it just peters away because they never learn the skills or the
So
work ethic. or
they
any of
weren't
that.
able to observe like, because like if kids learn through what they see versus what they're told, they weren't able to see the
Hard work.
grind.
Yeah.
Kind of like they were maybe born after they were already successful
Yeah. I mean,
and only saw the money.
their parents probably worked their ass off to get to that. And now what they see is their parents, quote, coasting, kind of, because they've already built the thing. And then those kids just see the parent coasting. So then it's like, well, this is all I have to do. To where that parent's coasting is probably working really hard compared to what the kid
And I get it.
Sure.
thinks.
You always want better for your kids than what you had.
But they don't correlate. Giving them everything isn't doing better for them.
Yeah,
You're
I get it
ruining
from
them.
I get it from the grinding perspective of I want to create generational wealth. But yeah, you like you said, Courtney, you got to follow that up with teaching your kids to keep that going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because in a way you are screwing them.
Yeah.
It's like the hovering parents that take care, or what, like the
Helicopter.
like the lawnmower parents.
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
they will make your path super easy for you to succeed because they don't want you to have to struggle with anything.
Oh, I've never heard a lawnmower parent.
It's like they're taking on any struggle
Problem.
in the foresight of their path, so that they're like, well, I can just go through life and it's going to be easy peasy for my kid. But because you're not giving them the adversity, you are screwing them up, and then they're off on their own. And those are the kids that struggle to find partners and they eventually come back to the house a bunch of times, and they can't find a career that they like because they've never had to deal with struggle. And their parents are like, well, I took all your problems, like, but you didn't teach them how to handle adversity and be resilient, that now they kind of need you for everything now. That's like,
Yeah, my opinion on that is probably it's probably the parent's fault for not educating and helping that kid get ready for the next thing. Because you have so many examples where it does work. Like the trust fund is continuing to go. They're still having money. They're even making more money.
the
So
kid
you-
comes
you
in
have
and
a-
makes the company better. And
You have examples where it works, so there's a way to make it work. How do you make it work? It's not like it's
Are those
everyone.
trust fund families though, or is that just I grew up knowing my dad's a chiropractor and I'm gonna take over his practice? So my whole life I knew I was gonna be a chiropractor.
Yeah, I guess there's a spectrum of.
Or my dad
what's-
was a lawyer owns this powerful law firm, and I just knew I'm gonna to continue.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
Yeah.
not trust fund money though. Maybe that's small potatoes compared to
small family business to
right.
if you own a laundromat, and then your kid's gonna now do the laundromat business, or a trade business, your kid's gonna
Yeah.
take over your plumbing
Clientele.
and whatever business. They would have to learn the skills of that versus the trust fund ones where it's like your parents sold Venmo and now
or
you're
Donald Trump's dad, who was a construction.
yeah.
Well, what's that company? Isn't it in? I don't. Of course, I don't remember. But it was like maybe something in Wisconsin where you're like you looked it up and it was like built in the 1940s, and it's like the family is still sole ownership of it.
Oh,
They haven't-
Cargill.
What is it?
Cargill.
Or the feed.
It's like the third biggest privately owned company or something like that.
In Wisconsin?
I think it was created or built or something in Wisconsin, or I don't remember I don't remember exactly, but
But they've never had any outside of the family money.
nobody outside of the family's ever had a
Woodman's-
piece of ownership.
Or Farmer Fleet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they're not traded companies, but they're family owned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Woodman's is shareholder. So their employees are owners.
Oh, yeah. Which is still privately owned. Like, you
Right.
can't publicly trade it, but
Quick Trip.
Yeah.
There's another one.
Midwest. Crushing it.
Yeah. I wonder if there's more like successes of that than there is failures. Because we always hear that of like the trust fund, it goes away in generational wealth thing goes away in 3 years, whatever. I wonder if there's more of that failure happening or if there's more of the success happening where it continues.
Yeah, I don't know. And what are you talking trust fund? Like private jet trust fund, or I get $500 a month?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would like, which again, what is this? What's the dollar amount or whatever? But like, I would think the kids don't have to work. They could live their whole life not working. Type of thing. I don't know if that's $1 million they get or it's 10 million or whatever, but because I think
Yeah.
that's what happens with these
I
like
don't
the
think you can live
lawnmower
off of $1
parent
million.
things of they don't even teach the kid to work. Like it's not even a part of their thing that this kid will work for this company and take over this company. It's like just go do whatever you want. Oh, you want a $10 million loan to try to build this, weird hoverboard business that you're super into? Like, here you go. And then they try to do that and it fails. And
Yeah, what was that TV show that was on with Paris Hilton and Lionel Richie's daughter? Where they were like,
yeah.
I don't know.
it was kind of it was like one of those MTV shows where there was just,
Yeah. It was like a reality show.
yeah,
What did they do?
nothing.
What was it about?
Just their lives.
It was like before the Kardashians.
Yes.
Oh,
The Simple Life. That's what it was called.
Okay.
2003 to 2007.
But those were two trust fund kids. It's just like they're driving around in their super expensive cars and they live in these fancy mansions or
yeah.
super big houses.
It's it was a show that followed two wealthy socialites as they did menial jobs. So they went and it was kind of like that. What's that other show? Dirty Jobs. It's like Dirty Jobs, but Paris Hilton and
Oh, then I
Or did
totally
it?
misunderstood what the show
but
was.
it was also like them just showing their life and showing how disconnected they are from like
Yeah.
what everyone else does.
Yeah.
And
But
it's
yeah.
funny, those people like that tend to meet other people. Like if I'm a trust fund kid, I start hanging out with you because you're another trust fund kid because we get each other. And
Mhm.
Yep. Same circles.
yeah,
Well, then you
Yeah.
have two wealthy families combining that you also just like have two. I don't know. It's like, it's crazy to think like, okay, so then you're blowing two of your family's money because you're both coming from being
Yeah.
set up. But yeah, we are over an hour.
All right.
Wrap it up.
Subscribe. See you later.